Ladies and gentlemen, so thanks to the hard work of legendary data miner Otrix, this evening we're going to be breaking down the early abilities for Captain Marvel, the MCU version, the movie version, and talking about what she might be able to do in Marvel Contest of Champions. But just before this, we did a video having a bit of a look at Nick Fury, and Nick Fury, he looks so much fun to play. He's got crazy damage, bleed potential, his signature ability looks really fun and very interesting as well, and the synergies look absolutely nuts on Nick Fury. So if you haven't already checked that video out, definitely give it a watch, man. Nick Fury looks absolutely wild, and I must say, out of the two, I think Nick Fury, I'm looking forward to a little bit more, but I think Captain Marvel movie has a lot of potential to be a very good questing character, and also maybe have some really sick damage, because she's got an armor break, a way to deal additional energy damage, but also a fury, and if all of those combine together quite well, it could mean that she has some pretty insane damage output. But obviously the cosmic class, very competitive, a lot to rival with there, so yeah, we're gonna have to see about that one. But anyway, let's talk about some of the core stuff to the MCU version of Captain Marvel before we explain how everything works, because you need to understand energy charges and binary ignition. So the first thing is energy charges are a resource that she has. She can have up to 25 of them at any time, and they seem to be generated via parries, via any blocked hits, via any energy damage that you would take, and also via special attacks as well. So those are some ways to generate them looking at this, and also the binary ignition. So when you're above 10 energy charges, you can dash back, or if you're knocked down, you enter binary ignition. But if you get up to 25, which seems desirable when you're playing the champion, then you're forced to enter binary ignition, and that's kind of an additional phase where you get like different effects added, and it also activates the signature ability as well, which we're going to talk about. So you've got energy charges, and as those go up above 10, you can activate binary ignition if you want to, and at 25 you are forced into binary ignition there. So, you know, now we've got those very basic stuff out of the way, let's talk about kind of the core abilities of the character. So landing a hit or hitting into the block with a light or medium attack gives you a percentage chance to inflict armor break, reducing armor rating by a certain amount for 7 seconds. Also, if you intercept an opponent's dash attack, you've a 100% chance to inflict armor break, reducing armor rating by a certain amount for 7 seconds. So, you know, on your standard hits, you got a chance to armor break, but if you intercept, it guarantees that you get that armor break as well. And it looks like, I assume this is related to binary ignition here, the chance to inflict armor break with light or medium attacks increases to 60%, so the standard one is a little bit lower there. And it looks like she also has a mechanic called burst, so you deal an additional 50% of damage dealt as a burst of energy damage when striking an opponent with an armor break debuff. So that seems like a nice little top up there. So what do we have there? So in binary ignition as well, once you enter that phase, Captain Marvel does not generate energy charges from kind of the conventional ways, and each charge lasts 1.2 seconds. Also related to her energy charges as well, she gains a permanent fury buff, increasing attack by a certain amount for every 5 stacks of energy charge. All fury buffs are removed when energy charges fall to 0. So I don't know if this is kind of like all of the time or just in binary ignition. It's not super clear on this point specifically, so we're going to have to see on that one. So yeah, well-timed blocks generate an additional energy charge, so you get energy charges off parrying. Landing a heavy attack while in binary ignition generates free energy charges as well. Damaging energy debuffs increase the duration of energy charges by 1 second. So if you've got a dot on you, damage over time effect, it will increase the duration of your energy charges, so you can stay in binary ignition longer there, and that may be something to keep in mind when you're fighting the champion as well. But however, this one's a very interesting point. Captain Marvel is going to suffer a certain amount of damage when energy charges are generated by the effects of mystic champions, and combined with the second line of Captain Marvel gains persistent energy charges by blocking physical attacks, and when struck by energy attacks, any energy charges that Captain Marvel ends a fight with persist between fights. So her energy fights carry over from what you had on the previous fight, and you have a max of 25 stacks there. However, yeah, so if you're fighting like with Symbiote Supreme or Doctor Strange, two champions that have all energy on their base, it looks like all your attacks are going to generate the energy charges, but also like deal additional damage as well. So I'm not too sure if that's going to be worth it, but it could be another champion that Symbiote Supreme absolutely dominates there, so something to maybe look out for. And this is, you know, just a description of Binary Ignition here. So while over 10 energy charges, dashing back and holding block for 1.2 seconds, or being knocked down, purifies all debuffs and pushes Captain Marvel into Binary Ignition. So you can actually use that as well by dashing back and holding block to get rid of debuffs. And you could use that, I assume, at the start of the fight if you wanted to very quickly get rid of a node. So that could be an interesting use, considering, you know, you can get over 10 charges to the next fight. But if you get to 25, she's going to automatically enter Binary Ignition there. We also have Heavy Intercept. So this is like a counter used on, let's say, like Medusa, Iron Man, Infinity War. To name a couple of matchups there, so striking with a heavy attack while the opponent is charging or executing a heavy attack removes all the armor up effects and inflicts stun for 2.5 seconds. This seems mad against Iron Man Infinity War in particular, man. I think that's going to be so incredibly useful for that matchup, and she's just going to absolutely dominate Iron Man Infinity Wars, I would assume. With this one specifically, it seems absolutely crazy. Also, at the start of the fight, she's going to gain 2% of max power for each energy charge she has. So if you finish the fight, let's say on like, you know, 20 that you didn't ignite, you go straight up to 40% power, and then it's like another couple of combos before you can special too. So that's pretty good there. And also in terms of like AI behavior, and this is mainly when, you know, you're fighting Captain Marvel, while Binary Ignition is active, Captain Marvel fights more aggressively as well, so you can intercept her. Also has poison immunity. So yeah, kind of fairly standard Captain Marvel stuff there, but we also have kind of one more thing when it comes to the signature ability. So this is called Binary Durability, and this ability has a kind of activation cooldown. It can be activated after a certain amount of seconds, but while Binary Ignition is active, Captain Marvel gains an indestructible buff for a certain amount of seconds. The indestructible buff and half of Captain Marvel's energy charges are removed when struck by a special attack. If struck by a special 3 attack, the damage instead is reduced by a certain percentage. So playing this character, I assume you're going to be pretty much immune to like standard damage while you have this indestructible buff active, which seems, you know, really, really good. But if you're struck by a special, or if you're fighting her, that'll get rid of it and also reduce her energy charges by half, allowing her to, you know, cool down a little bit there. But this also has the additional effect of gaining a regeneration buff, healing a bit of health over 30 seconds. So that might be kind of insane for sustainability, depending on how powerful that regeneration is there. So yeah, a little bit curious, but that regen and the indestructible seem like a very, very good signature ability there. And then what do we have? Kind of moving down, so we've got the special attacks as well. The special one is Photon Blast. This is a another way to generate energy charges, because it will generate 3 of them. So tearing through the toughest defenses, Captain Marvel unleashes 2 powerful beams of cosmic energy before leaping in for an earth-shaking punch. Energy beams in this attack deal true damage against tech champions. This attack also has true strike as well. In Binary Ignition, beam attacks are unblockable, but this attack expends 2 energy charges instead. So yeah, this one seems a little bit interesting there. I think it's, you know, primarily going to be used as a way to generate the energy charges and ramp up. The special 2 is Scroll Slayer. With a graceful flurry of powerful kicks and punches, Captain Marvel sends her foes back with a pair of well-placed cosmic beams, so 100% chance to stun for 2 seconds, but if Binary Ignition is active, it lasts for 3.5 seconds there. Energy beams in this attack deal true damage. Against tech champions, they have true strike as well, and in Binary Ignition, beam attacks are unblockable and expend 4 energy charges. So seems a little bit cool there. And then finally we've got the special 3. So this is Spacefaring Binary Star. Harnessing the power of a binary star, Captain Marvel sends her foes into orbit before burying them in cosmic energy, and this generates 10 energy charges, and also you gain a power gain buff, generating 40% of max power over 10 seconds. So yeah, the special 3 seems really, really decent actually. 10 energy charges, and you can get a special 1 right off the back of it. Perfect for kind of ramping up there. So some really, really cool stuff. But you can see with everything combined applying the armor break, the fury that she gets off the energy charges, and also the energy damage, how Captain Marvel could be a very, very cool champion. So, you know, I'm not too sure overly what to think of her yet, but I think she's got some potential. But again, the Cosmic class, there is so much to compete for. However, in terms of the synergies, the fan club one with Miss Marvel, aka Kamala Khan, gives Captain Marvel Fury buffs in binary ignition, have a 10% increased potency, and Kamala Khan all melee attacks have a 20% chance to armor break for each stack of active Fury, reducing armor rating by a certain percent. So once you got a few Furies, you should be armor breaking like crazy with that Kamala Khan synergy, which might have, you know, additional ways that you can build it with like the Despair Mastery to kind of add a heal block to Kamala Khan. But yeah, it really depends how strong that armor break is as to exactly how good Kamala is going to be, and also how long that armor break lasts as well. So I'm interested to see that one. However, there's one with the classic Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. So Captain Marvel herself gets blocking energy-based attacks, grants 2% of max power. It seems alright there. Captain Marvel Classic and Miss Marvel, while Fury is active, beam attacks are unblockable. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to change the characters much, really. It'll be useful for a few auto block matchups, but if you've got this version of Captain Marvel, you're probably not going to need this. So yeah, it just seems like a little bit of a joke synergy there. I really hope that one is buffed before release. And then finally, we've got Partners in S.H.I.E.L.D. with Nick Fury. So Captain Marvel, each energy charge lasts an additional 1 second while in binary ignition, so the energy charges last a little bit longer there from fading, and gives Nick Fury more tactical advantage charge durations. That seems really, really good. But overall, I think Captain Marvel's got a bit of potential. She doesn't seem like the worst champion in the world, but I'm very interested to see her values and how hard she's going to hit and how powerful the regeneration is, because she seems to be a little bit lacking when it comes to kind of wider utility. She's got some good stuff in terms of armor rating and also the stun on the heavy counter as well. I think in certain matchups is going to be really, really valuable. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, out of Nick Fury and Captain Marvel movie version, which one of these champions are you the most excited for? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, man, I'm Team Nick Fury 100%. Nick Fury seems so crazy, but I do think as well it's probably not the best idea to sleep on this Captain Marvel, because she could be really, really good, or she could turn out a little bit of a dud. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.